Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another phenomenal episode of Ready, Set, Multiplex Legacy. And I am here with another tentpole competitor, Eli McCaig. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, especially with everything that's happening in the world. I'm doing pretty good.
Yes, we are taking social distancing very seriously. We are recording in different places, as always. So we are here to talk about you. Obviously, you are a very storied competitor in multiplex, dating back to the very first match. Talk to me a little bit about how you got involved and how you got in on what would become this empire.
Well, it was very interesting. At the very beginning of multiplex, I was contacted by Tim Smith, who at the time was the person that truly created multiplex, and I was contacted about doing like a TV ultimate Arrowverse. But then after that, they asked if I wanted to actually be in like their fandom division and their Warzone division, excuse me. And I was 100% for it because movies were always my first passion. And then when I said I was interested in being in fandom, they said, "Oh, you're gonna have to be in a play-in match to get into the tournament." At first, when they told me that, I was a little like, "What? I have to be in a play-in? All right." But at the time when they had seen me, I was never been in any like Inner Geekdom-esque match. I'd never been in a singles movie trivia match. So from their end, I understood play-in match for Warzone. And so the very first match that Multiplex ever released was the play-in match that I was in. And when you look back at it, I was like the best player in that entire match. And if you look at the host, who I think was Kane McMillan and Caleb Coho at the time, they were like, "Wow, well then, we now know how good you are. You're definitely going into the tournament." And then I just went on in the tournament.
And what got you excited and wanting to do internet movie trivia?
Well, it was at the time I was watching I watched a few matches of the very first movie trivia thing that I saw, which was Worldwide Movie Trivia, or at the time it was called the Fan Movie Trivia Smowdown. And I was very interested. I wanted to be a part of it. I joined that group, and then I also sort of, when you look back at the history, Caleb Coho had his own promo that everyone makes fun of when he did his own there. And then I also did one sort of later in that year, but the entire time I was whispering. So it was sort of, like whispering because it was really late at night and I didn't want to wake up my roommate. So that, and I got a lot of flack for that. And then I sort of, someone asked me to do a match for their league, and I said sure, and then that's sort of how that happened.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about your career in fandom, because you have had a historic run. You've played a lot of different matches. You've had some incredible wins, but also some devastating losses. Just take me through a little oral history of Eli McCaig.
I would have to say, and someone, I feel like Caleb Coho and Tim Bracala, and probably everyone would correct me. I think overall I've had the most matches of any competitor because I had been there at the beginning, and they had just like, the more matches you play, the more your record shows. And so with the amount of, like, when you just look at my record, the amount of those I've just, in fandom, just in general, just playing so much. And I had a lot of big wins. My very first Grant Gregory, and the first singles loss I had was against Caleb Coho, which when you look at my entire career, there'd be a lot of matches between Eli McCaig, Caleb Coho. But recently we haven't had a one-on-one match in a long time, so I really want that one-on-one again. And yeah, my biggest defeat right now, the one that really made me rethink everything, was my loss against Robert Parker last year, and it was for the title. Title shot was I won a multiplex gauntlet match, which was just every single category of every single division, and it was just going to be a question per division, and I just won that at the end. And the winner got to fight for any title, and I chose to cash it in against Robert Parker, which now looking at it, I'm like, I should have really thought about that a little bit more, but hindsight's 20.
Hindsight.
And upset that I had a loss. And then my second biggest loss was against Tim Bracala, which it came down to the very last question. I got that question wrong because I ultimately knew it when I heard the answer. So that was another big loss. It's been a while since I have the biggest victory of my career, and until I get that really big win, which the big win for me would be winning the singles fandom fights title, because that's been the title I've won it since I first started.
Is that the area that you really have put a lot more effort into getting? Words are hard. The coronavirus, right?
Yeah, the coronavirus is making people not talk right. But I would say fandom fights, the singles, is my top priority when it comes to just where I want. And then fandom teams is partner Dominic Rizzi, which if you saw our debut match against Blockbuster Video, it shows that we're a really strong team, and we are gonna try to fight for those fandom team belts. And then I would say after that, which at the time when it was around, it was fandom TV, because it was just all the TV shows I was watching. A category was Arrowverse, non-Arrowverse DC shows, Netflix Marvel, non-Netflix Marvel. It was just a lot of TV shows that I have watched. In the end, with that division, I became the one and only TV fandom champion, which it's the one title I get to carry, and I'm the champion. And with the recent TV Throwdown match with Jacoby Bancroft winning it, they announced or Tim Smith announced we're gonna have the TV Fandom Championship on the line, and it's gonna be Jacoby Bancroft versus Brooklyn Vale versus Eli McCaig, and the winner of that will fight Alec Miller for the TV Throwdown title, so they can unify the belts to make one TV belt. So I'm excited for that match. I've been studying very hard, and after it was just regular movie Warzone, because in the early days of movie Warzone, sort of season 1 movie Warzone, I was considered one of the top competitors, which when you look at Warzone now, that is completely inaccurate now. There's no way I'm one of the top competitors now.
Well, let's talk about that. Obviously, you've been in this game for a long time, going back to the first match. Talk to me about how multiplex has changed in your eyes. How is playing now different from playing when you first started?
When I first started playing, I was very much just, okay, this is an object. And I never worried about strategy, even though I really should have. Nowadays, I am very focused on, okay, I got to be strategic with what I choose for my strengths. I got to make sure I bet smart in the third round for fandom. I don't really compete in Warzone anymore, because that is just a division that I will never be able to compete in anymore based off the caliber of talent they have. But for fandom, it's I really want to make sure that I can have the knowledge and the strategy. And the people can take this as a strategy, or me throwing away a strategy. I don't care, because if you're gonna see me in a match like this, when I am in a match for fandom, almost always expect James Bond to be a strength that I put on there, because James Bond is just something that I happen to be very strong in, and I want to make sure that I have that strength on there, because a lot of people do not have. A lot of people need to study on James Bond, and it's just something that it's just a natural thing in my brain of that knowledge. So I always use that as a strength.
Eli coming on here throwing away strategy. I don't know how that is that confidence, or is that just a willingness to play?
I would say it's a willingness to play, because I am always willing to play anyone. There's always been in my head, I don't care if you're at the top. If Caleb or Tim books me in a match against you, I'm going to play it, and I don't care if it's loss in my book. I want to play, because I love playing this game. I love this game. I love multiplex. So any way I can do to help multiplex, I'm going to make sure I do that.
Now, I want to take this back to the fandom division, as you obviously say that is your top priority. What advice could you give to newer teams or players who are wanting to come in as as you say yourself, the most veteran player?
The biggest advice I would give them is don't be afraid to end the regular round 1, round 2, round 3 in a tie. Do not be afraid of that, because there are a lot of people when they go into round 3, they know it's like, oh, if I bet this amount of points and I get. But at the same time, if you're going into it ahead, and if you're going in 2 points ahead, and you're thinking, oh, if this person bets 2 points and they get it right, they're tied with me. I want to make sure it's not a tie. Don't be afraid to go to sudden death, because sudden death is about who has more knowledge. And if you're confident that you have more knowledge than your competitor, go into sudden death. Sudden death is not a detriment, and it's actually something that I encourage more, because not only does it make the game a whole lot more intense and fun, it's good strategy, in my opinion.
You might be the only. We've spoken to a number of people on this show and offline. You may be the first person to say that to use sudden death as a strategy. Where does that come from in your mind, other than just that it's good? Is that something that you have utilized a lot in your career?
It's been one of those things where I've been in a position to where I have been in the lead, and I have bet less, and I've been in the lead before, and I've bet a certain amount of points, being nervous and afraid to go to sudden death, but then getting the question wrong and ending up losing the match, where I could have just bet nothing and gone to sudden death and see how the game would have gone. So it's one of those experience things of, it has cost me to not go to sudden death, and it's one of those things where if I could go back to some of those matches, I would go to sudden death.
That's a very, very interesting. This is what I love about not only our relationship here at Toronto of the North with Multiplex, but also this show in particular. Getting to talk to people like you and Brian and some exciting guests that we have coming down the line. We always learn so much about the strategy. Now, where do you see yourself right now? Because it's been a little bit since you competed. So what is Eli's goals on the future?
My goals of the future is to hopefully, it's very difficult to say. I want to keep on making sure that Dominic keeps the title. If I'm not in title contention, if I see myself not close to fighting Dominic for the title, I want to make sure that he keeps that belt, because he's my team partner, and I want to make sure that he can rise to the heights that he has to. And I want to make sure that he can keep that belt for as long as Robert did, if I'm not in title contention, of course. I want to make sure that we win the Phantom Team belts, because I want to be able to show that Dominic and myself can carry. I want to be able to show that I can carry a team or Phantom single title. And also, when it comes to the Phantom TV division, or just the TV division in general, I want to be able to show that I'm more than just the guy as well, and I want to be able to carry unify the TV belts and be the one that carries the TV titles.
What would that mean to you? Because I believe with that unification, that would be the last Phantom TV fight. So what would it mean to you? What would it mean for your legacy, going out on top, holding the belt that no one else will ever hold?
I think it'll show people not only that people should have had more Phantom TV matches. That's just a personal thing for me. But I think it would show that as Phantom Fight singles movies was Robert's division, I think it would show that Phantom TV was my division. And that no one could beat me. And no one could ever get close to the potential that I had. Because there are a lot of people, when they did the Phantom TV tournament, that I was like, oh, that person, if I were to go up against them, that would be a good match. And that's the potential to having a great Phantom TV title match. Which a lot of those guys I never got to fight, but I was able to go up against someone, which made the fight interesting. But ultimately, in the end, I was able to prove that I had a whole lot more knowledge overall, and I want to be able to show people that Phantom TV was my division, and no one's going to take that away from me.
Now you got that three-way coming up to hold on to that belt before you go on for unification. How are you preparing for that? Because you're looking at two stiff competitors.
Yeah, I know for a fact that they're nervous about going up against me. If you saw the match and you saw right after Tim announced the match, they both were shocked. Like, oh crap, we are going to lose. And when even in some of the times I jab with them because I'm friends, jabs like, hey, I'm studying. I'm almost done watching this show. I'm almost done binging this show. So get ready. All those things, making sure I know the shows that have been picked for strengths, and for a majority of the shows, I have seen them maybe twice or even more than maybe around 3 times, and I want to be able to go into the match without any worries.
That's the technical difficulties song. All right, so we are about to wrap things up here with Eli. But Eli, let's talk about, we're already talking about the future. What are your aspirations, not only in multiplex, but in life in general? What do you want to do?
Well, since you said life in general, that brings up a whole can of worms. Someday, and it's something I've been working on since I first was high school. I want to be an actor. I did nonstop. I want to be an actor. I want to be a filmmaker. I made a film in quotes, and it's on YouTube. It's basically my version of a modern retelling of A Christmas Carol. I've written a short film. I'm trying to write a feature length at my feet wet again in the feature length film idea, and maybe someday, I don't know if this is ever going to happen, I would like to at least have one match in the Schmodown. Again, even if it's just one, because all the fans gone up, like Paul, Chance, Kevin Smith, Robert Parker, I've played all of them at least once, and I'm not going to say I got close to beating all of them. I did not get close to beating Robert. No, wait, I've played Robert twice. One in Fandom and once in Warzone. Funny. But all at least once. And I would just love to have a chance to at least play in one match in the Schmodown. Again, even if it's just that one big entrance, play that one match, win or lose, never play again, that would be so much fun for me. And plus, I'd be able to meet a lot of like Coy Jandro, Mike Kalinowski. I've looked up to both of those guys for a long time, and I would just want to meet them, shake their hand. I just want you to realize you've inspired me for so long, and just thank you so much.
Well, you're not allowed to shake anybody's hand anymore. You're going to be meeting them from 6 feet away, sir. But now that you say that, shoot. This is your platform to shoot your shot. If you got that one match, who would you want to play?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a very good question. Honestly, if I had that one match, I think just because how much I've changed as someone, as how I've trained and how I would want my rematch against Kevin Smith. And there's a reason why I say rematch against Kevin Smith. Because, look, here's my reason. I played him once in Full Metal Media and Full Metal Geek. If you look at his opening promo, if you go back to the very first match he had opening promo, I'm there. Like, my face is there. So you can technically say I've had my Schmodown debut. It's just as a visual cameo. And it's just, when I played him then, I was tired. I didn't study like I should. And he beat me pretty well. I think with how I've changed my studying patterns, how I've changed my training patterns, I would just want to go up against him again and give him a better match than I did then.
Would you win?
Probably not, but it'd be a closer match than the last time.
Well, that's all we can ever hope for. Eli, thank you so much for being our second guest on another successful episode of Ready, Set, Multiplex Legacy. Where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. Eli Mac, and on Instagram, Mr. is actually fully spelled out. On Twitter, it's just MR. You can find me on YouTube at Mr. Eli Mac. Again, I just have some random videos there. They're like nothing of substance there. That I mentioned earlier is on my friend Lanny Poteet's channel. So if you want to watch a movie that I wrote and direct, and even like I made, it's on his YouTube channel, Edward Scrooge. That's the name of it. And you can find me on Letterboxd at Mr. Eli Mac, and on Facebook at Eli McCaig. And also find me on Multiplex Full Metal. I'm playing matches there. You can find me anywhere.
Well, it's exciting to see that, and we hope to have you back on the show soon. As always, you can find me at Leaves Me Alone on Twitter, at Baby James Lees on Instagram, and go subscribe to the Schmoes of the North YouTube page if you have not. Come join us over at Schmoes of the North on Facebook. It's a very healthy and happy community in these times, and it takes nothing to subscribe. All right, for all of us here at Schmoes of the North, have a great day.